Happy week 0, everybody, and welcome into the Graham Lincoln Mac Lane podcast presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Graham Lincoln Mac Lane. Mac, we will be playing football this week, and specifically this team that we're talking about will be playing football. I can't believe it feels like we kind of made it because it's just week 0, but we made it. There's ACC football this week.
We're here. Finally, we're here. We got a couple of games. We'll talk about it Friday. But as we wrap up our tour, KG, it's crazy. We're gone 17 teams. We got 2 left. Clemson, of course, will be on Wednesday. The Yellow Jackets today. It's flown by. It really has, and it's been a ton of fun to knock all these out.
It really hasn't. Thanks to we got every coach on, which was awesome. We appreciate everybody and the help with that, the SIDs, and of course the coaches for their time. And I really enjoyed talking with Coach Key. Coach Key is a fun interview. He was candid at times. He was candid with us off air, talking about he's a big collector. He's got some items in his office. He was talking about some vacation he was going on, but Coach Key's a cool dude. And Mac, I know you and him really vibe. You kind of look similar. You play the same position.
I'm way better looking than that guy.
Well, you're both bald. You're both bald, so I'll say that. By choice, Mac, by choice.
Mine's not by choice. But maybe him. But no, he's the best. And looking forward to spending some more time with him. We'll be there next week. The huddle is going to be down in Atlanta. Yeah. So I might go see that man cave. He kind of, said, come on whenever. So I'll have to take him up on it. But love this interview, guys. Ton of information. You're going to love it too. We'll be on the back end to talk about some more Yellow Jacket action. But without further ado, here's our interview with Coach.
At Ingles, we know your closest companions are the ones who are always there for you. The ones you trust to have your back, no matter what. Who make the hard times a little softer. And the good ones, somehow, a little better. That's what family is all about. Whether they walk on 2 legs or 4. Ingles, all the ingredients for family.
Coach Key, welcome back to the podcast, brother. It is great to see you. I'm jealous of the setup. You just explained it all to me. You're showing us around. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to tear down this wall and rebuild it to look like yours.
I know a good builder for you, so.
There we go. So it's summertime. How's it been? How's everything going? Do you have any vacations or any time to think about vacations leading in and get away from ball a little bit?
Yeah, you have to. We've been working the coaches got off the road, spring recruiting. We went straight into camps. We've had a camp every single day for the last 2 weeks up to this point, 2.5 weeks, I think. In the weekends, you got 15, 16, high school kids and their families and everyone, on campus, from late Thursday night all the way through Sunday. So it's been a grind. We've got another, 11-day burst here of every day after, once tomorrow kicks in. And then, I'm a big believer on, we work hard, we work a lot of hours, but when we're away, we're away. I put the phone down. I try not to call the guys, they try not to call me unless it's an emergency. And, that was something I learned from Coach Saban. Coach Saban works as hard as anybody out there. But when it's time to get away, he knows that you need that mental reprieve. So you'll find me somewhere in Orange Beach. That's where I go. That's my spot. I'll be at Orange Beach and, hitting up different places down there and having some fun. So,
how'd that come about? Where'd Orange Beach come from? Has that been a lifelong thing or you stumble upon it?
I grew up having grown up in Birmingham and then going to, we used to go to Gulf Shores when I was a kid, which is, the beach right next to it. Might as well be the same thing. And, there's a pretty famous establishment in Orange Beach, right there on the state line, half in Florida, half in Alabama. And my place just happens to be, kind of walking distance from the floor of Bama. So,
Coach, I have been to that establishment before, so I understand what goes on down there. And we won't call you. We will leave you alone. You have a great time down there.
Get some fried seafood, some fried oysters, and some po' boys. And man, I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Yeah. We love the beach too. And now you're getting me excited for my beach trip. Okay, Coach, this is the absolute opposite of the beach, you could say. And that's Ireland. You were just doing an interview, even though they have beaches there. You were doing an interview over in Ireland. You're worldwide, as we know. And I just want to hear about this process. Like, can you tell us more about how this game came to be? Have you been over there? yeah, there's just so much that goes into this trip, I have to imagine.
So when we land back in the United States after the game, right, my director of ops, our equipment people, our nutritionist, dietitian who's, packing everything. I mean, I'm going to give them the biggest bonus you could ever think of. The biggest bear hug, give them a day off or something. I mean, Josh Thompson, who's our director of ops, he's been unbelievable. John Palumbo, who's a associate AD behind Jay. Just the work that's gone into this. Mike Flynn is, I mean, to be able to coordinate all these things overseas and with the communications part of it, they've done an outstanding job. My job is to prepare the football team, to look at the schedules, to set what I think is the best schedule. We went over there 10 years ago when I was at UCF working with George O'Leary, and we played Penn State opening game, and I mean we got last play of the game they kick a field goal to win. So that's really the burnt taste in my mouth from the last time playing a game over there. Me and my wife and Jay and his wife did go over there a couple months ago to experience, to see where we're going to play, to see the hotels, to see the setups logistically, but also to enjoy a little bit of what it is. But look, we're going over there for one reason. That's to play a really good football team. I know Mike is the same way in what they're going over there to do. And I think it's going to be a heck of a game. I really do. I mean, it's going to be a heck of a game. I mean, I don't have any care of our guys go out and go see, different things on that Thursday when they're there. I just hope that they mentally prepare themselves to go play a very physical football game.
Yeah. And that's amazing that you have that in your back pocket of that experience, and maybe a little bit on things to do, things not to do in regards to preparation. But how else do you prepare for that? I mean, are you calling other coaches, other administrators, and kind of seeing how they did things maybe a little bit more recently with different things going on?
I have, Pat Fitzgerald's been really good. They went over there a couple years ago and, has had a lot of success with how they did those things. Notre Dame, have gone over there last year, their schedules. And then, I'll share with you offline some of the other,
I like that.
But, look, there's a lot of professional teams that have gone over there and taken a lot of trips over there. And so there's a lot of experience on the NFL level too, of what's right, what's wrong,
Sure.
How to do things, from sleep time, practice times, nutrition. So yeah, I've been a lot of ears, gotten a lot of advice, adjusted things that I felt like we could have done better the first time we were there. Going over there myself and tried to get into the sleeping patterns and rhythms to see, because it's not just that game. I mean, now you got to prepare to come back and play a game the next Saturday.
Yeah.
Right away, which is their first game, so that they don't have a game previous. So all information we have, we've been doing our breakdowns for the first two in game planning for the first two opponents, really, since May.
Yeah. Hey, and we'll be there, baby. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to be in Atlanta. Welcome you guys back and be able to see that there. Let's jump into your team and let's start with your quarterback, because we were just so impressed with what Haynes King turned into. At the middle to end of the year, the grittiness, the competitiveness, and every time I talk to you about him, just the overall excitement. What do you need to continue to see from him as he's the face and the QB1 for your team?
Man, he's outstanding. He's outstanding in what he does. I don't think he gets near enough talk and mention, for who he is and what he's done, for what he was able to do last year. But he's the most critical person in the world, how he plays every single play. It's awesome. He's a coach on the field. I don't think you can get better in the intangible parts of the game of football, from leadership to, the way he has command, relationships with guys on the team, ability to affect others, knowledge of the entire offense, knowledge of, the entire defense, defensive structure. He's a ball junkie. He's been around it since he was a kid because his daddy was a very successful high school coach in Texas. So all of those things, I mean, when he's done playing, whether it's 10 days or 10 years from now, I mean, I've already told him, you have a GA spot with me, and he'll get right into coaching. He'll be a coach. He's going to be successful in this game for a long, long time, playing and coaching. Things he's working on. He's working on what he was able to do in 1 year, coming from where he was previously to now. I mean, I think Winky and Buster have done an unbelievable job with this kid. Man, I know it's just mechanically how he throws the ball, his footwork, there's a lot of things that he's improved on just from a technical standpoint that have allowed him to be a better player last year. All right. Now, what is he going to work on? He's got to work on, he's going to take chances. I mean, some of the throws he made last year and threaded him in there. I mean, if he doesn't take those chances, we don't win the game down at Miami for the throw, the throw before the touchdown, the throw to Malik on the sideline. I mean, that was a gutsy throw, right? But he also knows, he's working now and he's understanding when to take those risks and when not to take those risks, right? Because some of the same things, some of those same type of risky throws, you don't need to take in the middle of the second quarter, right? When you're up 10, right? When you're on the minus 45, the minus 35. All right. So that's the part of his game that he's taken to the next level. Truly, everybody talks about situational football and understanding third down or, red area, short yardage, but there's situational football knowledge, the next level. And it's hard for young kids and players to understand it, but there's situational within the game. There's timing in the game. There's, what the score is in relation to, the risk that you have to take. What is the reward versus the risk? That's the level, and that's the next level of his game where he's going.
Coach, I'm glad you mentioned the Miami game because, everyone just nationally, when people talk about the game, they talk about Miami not taking a knee, whatever, but no one talks about the plays that you guys made once you got the ball back. I feel like, because it was still very unlikely just from a, non-biased bystander watching that Georgia Tech was going to win the game. Did you feel like you learned something about your team and maybe about Haynes in those final plays that won the game for you down there?
Haynes just happened to be the guy pulling the trigger. And, he's the one that stood in front of the offense and said, it's time to go do what we do. And look, the quarterback's going to get every bit of praise for that, and they deserve it because they're going to get every bit of criticism when we don't. And so that position deserves that praise, right? But to me, the grittiness of our team came about the Sunday previous to that game after we got beat by Bowling Green. That's when our team decided, right, we're at a fork now, right? What are we going to do? Right? Are we going to accept this? Is this going to define who we are as a football team? Or are we going to go out and define who we are, right, by the way we play? And leading up into the week, we talked a lot of, hey, there's going to be a 4-minute get the ball back situation, and we're going to have to get the ball back. Now, we didn't know it was going to turn out like that, but the way those kids played on that last play on defense really the last couple of plays to force that to happen. I mean, some of those extra yardage on the 2 plays previous were because they were going for the ball. They knew what they had to do. So to really see the team come together and understanding how critical it was for, everybody on the field, both teams or both sides of the ball to do their job and able to have the outcome that, of Haynes throwing it to Christian. So it was everybody involved, clock management, rolling down from our side. Everybody talks about the other team, and I don't really care about any other team other than us. I mean, there was some, timeouts called and, getting, being able to, remeasure a down. And there was some critical things in there, and I don't take credit for that at all. I have people that helped me with those decisions. And I thought all in all, the entire, our entire organization was dialed in and playing to win. But at the end of all of it, that was the first game our team truly understood what it means to play for 4 quarters.
Wow.
No scoreboard. Give everything you have for 4 quarters. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and it showed for sure. And I want to talk about your 1-2 punch, Coach, with Jamal Haynes, because I think this guy is one of the more interesting stories. He was playing wide receiver just a couple of years ago, and now he's an all-ACC running back. I mean, can you tell me more about that? Because I feel like maybe when you were on staff, you were watching this kid, you were thinking, maybe he should be running the ball. I mean, tell me more about that situation.
Kelly, have you been around him any? Have you been around him much?
Unfortunately, have not been able to meet him. I'm hoping to, though.
This kid is special.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
He is special in so many ways. When I called him in and told him, talked about the ACC media days, and I mean, he started tearing up in his eyes and said that was one of the goals he's always had, was to be able to go represent, the team in front of the media. We're going to be in for a treat with this kid now. It's unbelievable. His energy, the always has a smile on his face, always pushing others, but also he's a very accountable kid, like all kids, like I was, right? Is he going to do everything perfect? No, not at all, right? But he welcomes when people call him out on it, right? We had a real, a leadership meeting a couple weeks ago, real just, take the cuffs off, and everyone just talk about each other. And he was thanking the guys on the team for saying things about him that he knows he's got to continue to work on. And, he's everybody sees what he does in the field and the energy he plays with, right? But that's who he is all day, every day. And he turned his life around, about probably 14 months ago, 15 months ago.
Wow.
He had a decision to make, and he made that decision. And then, 2 months later, we ended up moving him to running back. And now, the rest is kind of history.
Yeah. I mean, dynamic to say the least. I mean, the way that he finished last year, 6 straight games with over 80 yards, I think 4 of them over 100 yards. I mean, he's as dynamic as it comes, and he's still learning how to be that guy. So can't wait to see.
Year one.
Yeah,
First year playing the position.
Right. I mean, it's crazy. And, a big reason for that, and kind of similar to, what you said with King about not getting the notoriety or not getting the love or attention that he should. Same thing with your O-line. I mean, these guys were number 1 in sacks allowed, lowest in the league with 15. And you're throwing the ball. We're not doing the triple option. We're throwing the ball. You were middle of the pack, upper middle of the pack, 220, 230 yards per game passing, and also number 1 rushing. What have you seen from that unit, and how can they even take another step? I mean, that's upper echelon when you're 1 in sacks and 1 in rushing, but how can they get even better this fall?
Mac, it's I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, that whenever an O-line has a poor game externally, right, and we know this, right, it's not always on the O-line.
Right.
Okay, it's not. It's not when there might be sacks that aren't the O-line's fault. There might be a poor rushing game. It's not always their fault. All right, they're going to take the blame, and we're as O-linemen. That's what we do. We just take it. All right. Well, at the same time, when success occurs up front, it's not always the O-line either. Right? It's the quarterback getting rid of the football, making the proper check, the running back being able to break an arm tackle. Right? So it's everyone involved when it comes to the success of a football team. That's what I think is great. And that's my way also of, keeping them where they need to be in a level headspace, because we do have a lot of guys back. We have a lot of starts back. We have a lot of playing back. We've added some pieces to the puzzle. One transfer and a couple of freshmen who are going to see time this year, who are really, really talented freshmen. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about every position, but it's
just us talking here. You can be real. It's just us talking.
Well, I know that, but just what these guys went through, the older guys, the Joes and the Weston and, Jordan Williams, what they've gone through, what I've gone through with them, it's really rewarding to see those guys be able to walk with their chest held out a little bit higher and be confident in who they are as players. And Buster does a good job of playing to our strengths, right, and masking what weaknesses are. So.
Well, Coach, we know you love talking O-line. We got to talk about your wide receivers too.
I love talking about them.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you do. You had a couple guys last year in Singleton and Rutherford who were ridiculous. How have they emerged? What have they been working on? And just kind of that connection too, because people forget with Haynes King, it was his first year in your system, first year with Georgia Tech. So how is that connection continuing to grow between those guys?
Well, they work every day. I mean, and you have to have that connection, especially, it's one thing to be the speed guy like Eric, and everyone knows who Eric is. And he ran
I thought you were
track.
talking about me for a second. I was going to correct you, but go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Neither one of us can run a 40 anymore. Hamstring go flying in the third row. So it's everyone knows who he is. He ran track, ran 10.35, 10.37, in the 100 in ACC competition. But he runs that fast. It seems like with pads on, the ball is in. But the real timing of things that comes on the inside. It's Malik. It's Bailey Stockton, who's behind Malik now, who's a young kid who's really talented in the slot. Knowing, on these option routes, if they're going to break in, break out. I mean, we had it was a play last year. We're playing Boston College. We're driving. Malik breaks in, doesn't flatten it out, right, get undercut, interception, right? Critical time in the game. Well, like we say all the time. I mean, yeah, Haynes threw the ball. Haynes gets the INT. Everyone blames him. Well, Malik has got to cut that thing, flatter so that the ball doesn't get undercut as well.
Right.
But that's the timing. That's getting to know each other. That's understanding where the ball's going to be. That's the chemistry that those guys have put together. And, we've got a good group of receivers. We really do. If those guys, knock on wood, can stay healthy. I love them because they all want the ball, right? They also are happy for their teammates when they get the ball. So you don't want a receiver sitting there and have 0 catches and be happy at the end of the game.
Right.
That's what makes the great ones great. And
Yeah.
it's up to me and the coaching staff to manage those guys. And that's what I want. I want guys that are not selfish, but they also are competitive and want the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, no question about it. Coach, let's look at the defensive side of the ball, because I know there's some work to do, but you bring in Tyler, Coach Santucci as your defensive coordinator, and we know how successful he was at Duke. What is he going to bring to the table? Why did you choose him? And, why is he the best fit for Georgia Tech?
I think it's a great fit. Okay. I studied a lot of defenses last year. Right. Statistically, the 6 to 8 things that really matter to me defensively, I track those all season. My, Pat Boyle, who does all of my research and analytics and all those things, he tracks all 3 phases all year long. And then, as the season starts winding down and you're looking, you start saying, okay, who are the teams that are in the top 20 of every category? Right now, you pull out and you kind of highlight, okay, who are the ones that are outliers? What are the teams that are outliers here? And no disrespect to Duke, not one bit, but when you look at a team that 6 to 8 categories, they're in top 10, top 15 of every category. They're doing something right, and they had good players and they had a good scheme. And I was looking for someone that was in a 4-down world, right? They could play a strong background in quarters as well as 3 deep, being able to change and make tweaks week to week within the package. So it looked simple. It appeared simple, but was actually very complicated to go against. And then just the fit of him. I mean, me and him have so many similarities in our background. He's an old soul. He's 35, but he's an old soul, self-admitted. So we have a lot of just common ground as football coaches and as men. So it was really a no-brainer. He was the first person I talked to. I think I talked to 12 different guys. And he was the one at the end that we were lucky enough for it to work out on for both of us. And, have Jess Simpson, who, and look, hands down, is the best defensive line coach in the country.
He's amazing. I love that dude.
I'm not even going to argue that with somebody, because if somebody would want to argue it, they obviously don't know football. I mean, this man has done it at an extremely high level in high school, college, and the National Football League. And the way he has relationships with players, the way he gets them to play, and look, and they're held accountable. I mean, after every practice, the entire defense, they're doing up downs, or they're running for, loafs or mistakes. Tyler's full of energy. I mean, the way he commands the room. I mean, you guys ought to just, sit in one of his meetings with the defense. I mean, they feed off of him and his energy from the start of practice till the end. I mean, he is full bore, all out the whole time. And then we were able to bring Kyle Pope in, who I'd worked with at Alabama a few years ago. He was the D-line coach at Memphis at the time, and we were able to bring him in to coach our ends and our drops and work with the outside guys. It was just a really good combination of those 3 guys in the front. And then Corey Peoples, who's been at, here locally at Georgia State for a lot of years, has a really strong background recruiting, the city of Atlanta, the state of Georgia, but also up into South Carolina. And we really expanded our recruiting up into the state of South Carolina. It's a very short drive here. There's great talent there in that state. And we feel like we can really make some good digs into that state with talent. So, and then Corey he's a good football coach. And then with the corners, I took Ricky Brumfield, who was our special teams coordinator, and added him to be able to coach the corners, because we have some talented kids there. And coaching that position, right, is about relationships to me, right? You got to be able to have a relationship with those guys so you can coach them hard and demand them to do things right. And he was the perfect person for that. So, the thing I know that is right is the fit. And you can independently have really good football coaches, but collectively it just doesn't work sometimes. But you have to admit your wrongs and move on and do what's best for Georgia Tech and what's best for these kids.
Coach, you mentioned the talent in the state of South Carolina. I've got a 25-pound 1-year-old whose dad is an engineer. So I'll keep you posted on that one. He's a boy, obviously. So I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
What type of engineer?
My husband's a structural engineer. So yeah, he could fit in with
Big
Georgia. He's
brain.
a Clemson
Big
engineer,
brain.
but he's got mad respect for those Georgia Tech engineers. He works with a lot of them actually, but we'll talk offline. When it comes to kind of speaking of that, technology aspect, we've got iPads on the sideline now. You're going to be maybe not you. We'll see, which coach you choose to do that, but in the headset of your quarterback and a guy on defense and all this. How have you guys been preparing for that and that change?
I think everyone's kind of waiting for him to get here so we can use them during practice and those things. We had the headset communication in spring. I think to the casual observer of college football, I don't think you're going to see a big difference. To people that know the game, I think you're going to see a very big difference. It's the communication from the coach to the quarterback, right? We're still signaling, dummy signal. Everyone's still going to do that. I mean, but it's going to eliminate the world of sign stealing, play stealing. That's going to be gone. I think over the course of the season, you're going to see some teams that you think aren't being as successful as they were because of that. Just throwing that out there. But the speed of the game, I think the tempo of the game, you're not going to have to worry about those things because the call is going to be coming into the linebacker or the safety, whoever they have calling the defense. I think you're going to see the game speed up. I think you're going to see offenses now. You have the ability to snap the ball, 36 seconds on the clock, 34 seconds on the clock, a lot more consistently than before because people are getting the play quicker. I think it's going to be a cleaner game. I think over the course of the season, people are going to look back and say that they enjoyed watching college football more because of it.
Yeah, I love that. How about the iPad part of it? Just having video. I mean, because that's brand new to any level. NFL doesn't have that. Maybe they're going to, but it's not a question mark anymore, right? We're not coming to the sideline and you have something as the offensive line coach drawn up that was different from what I saw, and it comes to find we're both wrong. Now we know exactly what it is. So how will you manage that? Will you be involved at all? I know you like the offense, but I know you're the head coach. What will that kind of look like for you guys?
Yeah, I think I'll ask the questions. We'll have, I won't say exactly how we're going to do it, but
sure.
I think we have a good plan of attack. But the kids learn in high school that way. Right now, they come off the field in high school. They have the film up in front of them. They see it. So it was crazy to think that we were going to, take kids that have been doing it for 4 years in high school. Now we come to the sideline and we got to draw circles on a grease board that have to come. It's either raining or sweat stripping on it, and get them to understand what we're talking about. So I think you're going to, like I said, you're going to overall see a cleaner game. You're going to see adjustments made quicker. It's going to elevate the coaching on the sideline. Now, the people that are really going to win at this are going to be people that have a good plan in place. They don't just come out their first game and say, "Let's see how this works.
Sure.
Let's see how it goes."
Sure. Yeah. Well, we're excited to see it, brother. Can't wait to see you week 0, and then we'll be, like I said, in Atlanta week 1. Have a great summer, and always appreciate your time.
I can't thank y'all enough. Really can't. Just for everything y'all do, really, and for the ACC and the promotion of the ACC. And this is a unique time in all of college football for everybody. And I challenge everybody to really speak your mind on what you think about these things. And because I love this conference. I've been a part of this conference. You've been a part of this conference, and we know how special it is, and the competition that takes place in this league, right? Week in and week out. I mean, the margin of victory, lowest of any other conference out there, and it's a fun league to be a part of. It really is. I mean, look at the quarterbacks in the league right now.
Loaded.
I mean, it's unbelievable. So it's going to be a fun season this year. It really is, and I'm really, really excited for it.
What's up, guys? As you can tell by the hats, the shirts, the logo, we've got a new partner, Underdog Fantasy plus Gramlich and Mac Lane. We are super excited. They sent us a bunch of swag. They sent us a bunch of tennis balls. KG, Sam has loved the tennis balls. I'm not sure what you've done with them. Maybe throwing them out. Jacob doing his thing, getting after it. But we are so excited. And just let me tell you a little bit about these guys. The favorite thing that I like is, number one, you've got fantasy drafts where a ton of people know how to do that. Check it out. They have a really great thing there. But then you can pick your favorite player higher lower. And KG, you've already got into this for kind of a season-long deal. Can you tell the people a little insight
Yes.
on what you got there?
Well, I'm going to tell you about my most recent Pick'em entry, but Underdog Fantasy, it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. I have it pulled up right here on my phone. It's so easy to download. We're going to give you a promo code in a second that you can use to start your journey here. But my most recent one, I did this before the start of the season, and this is called my ACC, Let's Go ACC pick, right? So these are positive right here. I've got Casey Concepcion higher than 800.5 receiving yards for the season. Rondé Gadsden higher than 550.5 for the season receiving yards. And then Jaden Ott, the Cal running back, higher than 975.5 rushing yards. So if all three of those hit, boom, then I'm going to be feeling good on Underdog Fantasy. So I'm so excited about this partnership, Mac. I think this is a unique way to get involved with the game and to play fantasy sports. And like we said, download that app, check it out. It is the easiest place to play fantasy sports.
It really is very user friendly. And again, all season long, we've been giving you picks for years. We've been pretty good. Well, now we finally get to put our money where our mouth is, and you can join us. Okay. And we want to give you kind of a reward if you sign up and use our code GMPOD. That's GMPOD, all caps there. You have a special pick that you can claim. And then for first time deposit, they will offer up to $250 in bonus cash. So if you put in $250, they're going to put in $250. If you only put in $100, they'll put in $100. So we're giving you money, guys. You got to use our code. Sign in. This is going to be an awesome thing all year long. KG and I are going to be bringing you our picks. And if you look historically, you might want to listen to Kelly. She's a little bit better at the picks than I do. But we'll see. We'll see who makes the most money at the end of this thing. KG, I'm jacked up for it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Cannot wait. Our code GMPOD, GMPOD. Sign up now. We'll put some links on social media and below in the description here on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts. Join in on the fun today with Underdog Fantasy. Thanks again to Coach Key for joining us from the ATL as we talk Georgia Tech. Now, Mac, let's get into this team. I think there's a lot to be excited about. The schedule is challenging yet again. We will get to that. They somehow lose Clemson from the schedule, and the schedule is still just absolutely insane. But let's start with Haynes King, who Coach talked about a lot. Really excited for year 2 as a starter for him at Georgia Tech. What he was able to do last year was really impressive. And now with another year in that system, some more developed weapons, I think he is going to be without a doubt, one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, I do too. And, I wouldn't be shocked at all. We get to December and he's the first team quarterback on the all ACC teams. I mean,
Wow.
he's that good of a player. And I think this offense can be that fun, right? When you see what they're able to do, how he's able to move the ball. There was some stat, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but there was only 2 guys in all of college football with like 10 plus, touchdowns through the air and 5 on the ground, something crazy.
Yeah.
And it was a Heisman Trophy winner and Haynes King. Okay.
Wow.
So those were the only 2 and Jaden Daniels over at LSU. They were able to make it happen. So he's electric. And I think there's a lot of confidence in him from the entire team standpoint. Anytime that you see him, talk to him back at media day, this team's feeling really good offensively. And I think the running attack too, that they have one of the best duos in the backfield with Jamal Haynes and Haynes King.
Haynes and Haynes.
Yeah, just seeing that 1-2 punch is going to be really fun. I think this is going to be a great offensive line. And as you mentioned, KG, the weapons around them, just emerging.
And Mac, we know this O-line was one of the best in the ACC last year, only giving up 15 sacks. So year 2, learning even more so to block for a guy as mobile as Haynes King. I think this offense is going to be really exciting. Eric Singleton at wide receiver, that's another weapon. I don't have a lot of questions about the offense. I think it can be really good. The defense is where they have to improve. And the secondary is going to be really good, but it's those lines of scrimmage. It's kind of what we talked about with, I'm not comparing Georgia Tech to SMU, but obviously Georgia Tech coming from the option and all that they were doing. Right. Do you think we'll see enough improvement on the defense?
I think you're absolutely right there. That's where the drastic improvement has to come. And you brought in a new staff. You feel good about, your defensive coordinator. I think one of the best D-line coaches in the game right now is now at Georgia Tech. So when I see the pieces, which obviously is led by Zeke Biggers. I mean, that dude is massive. KG, there's very few people that I sit on a desk with, and I'm like, whoa, that's a big dude.
You feel small?
Zeke Biggers is one of them. Okay, that dude is massive, and he's got to take another step to be that anchor bring in a couple of transfers. And then, of course, you have some guys back that were injured a year ago. So I think the depth in the coaching is going to be a big difference there. And then with Santucci, I mean, just how he manages his defense. We've seen it at A&M. We saw it Duke. And now it should be the same thing. He takes guys and molds them, into monsters. So I'm hoping that happens here, because that just kind of seems it's very similar to me with North Carolina. I know you just brought up SMU there, but we've had really good offensive production, and then kind of the defense holding you back.
Yeah.
That's what it's felt like, especially last year from Georgia Tech. So I'm hoping they are able to take a step in the right direction, because then I think that win total gets a little bit more favorable if you can play holistic football.
And it's ironic because the former Georgia Tech head coach is now the defensive coordinator at North Carolina. We love that. Okay, let's talk about this, Mac, because this team went 7-6 last year, 5-3 in the ACC. People forget that. They did have the weird loss to Bowling Green, as we know. Of course, they lost to Georgia. Their win total is only 5.5. And I'll tell you why. It's because of this schedule. And this is just Georgia Tech, man. The schedule is always brutal. Mac, when I look at the schedule, the games where I'm going to say win, like guaranteed dub, okay? Georgia State at home, VMI at home. Like that's what's tough. Mac, this schedule is crazy. The schedule's crazy. Like, Duke at home. I think Georgia Tech should beat Duke at home.
Yeah.
That's 3.
We got 3.
Beyond that, though, and it's because a lot of these games, and this is where I think it can be tough with the schedule. So I think a lot of your winnable games, if you're Georgia Tech, are on the road, at Syracuse, at North Carolina, at Virginia Tech, at Louisville. Like, those are games you should very much be in, have a chance to win. They're all on the road. That stresses me out, Mac.
Well, the fun thing about this, we waited a little bit later to record this one. You play the number 10 team in the country, the number 7 team in the country, 19, 24, and 1. Oh, by the way, Louisville and Virginia Tech are on there. I'm sure they'll end up being ranked. So you're looking at 5+ ranked teams on your schedule. It's brutal. I mean, it's right up there with Florida, who has the worst schedule in the entire country. So good luck, have fun. But here's the deal. I do believe quarterback play is a big difference. I do believe that Haynes King can will you, to wins, and just the attitude of this coaching staff, the grit. Obviously, you're going to have an opportunity to play the underdog card and really thrive in that role. So what can you do with it? I'm going over. The number's 5.5. I think the defense is going to take enough of a step, and I think Haynes King is that good that they're going bowling. It's just going to be, who do you beat? And let me throw this out here. I don't want to hurt Florida State fans' feelings. Look out week 0. Look out week 0. That's going to be fascinating. I will not be shocked at all if Georgia Tech finds a way to win that game.
I think that game is going to be way closer than people think. I think especially outside of, our pod, outside of people who really know Florida State and Georgia Tech in the ACC, because that's the main game on week 0. People are going to tune into game day. They're going to think, okay, Florida State's just going to handle this. I don't think we're going to give our picks.
11.5.
11.5.
Give me
I took Georgia Tech. I would take that right now. I would do it now before it moves, and I would take Georgia Tech plus 11.5. We'll give our picks on Friday. I just think this game is going to be closer than people actually think. But Mac, all that being said, I think Georgia Tech, their roster, what they have is a bowl level roster.
Right.
But with this schedule, I just can't do it. I can't. Mac, this schedule's insane. It's insane. You have 2 guaranteed wins.
Yeah.
And you did lose to Bowling Green last year. Like,
I will say the other good piece of it is the gauntlet is at the very end. So, we should be the best. Is that good? We should be where we are. I'm just saying, we should be good, hopefully healthy. Who knows what's going to happen?
But see, that's the thing, though. In terms of bowl eligibility, let's say you have 5 wins with Miami, NC State, and Georgia left.
You go beat the Dogs. Let's go beat the Dogs.
Okay. I'd love to see it.
I get it. That's a brutal schedule. It's a brutal.
I am really excited to see this next step for Georgia Tech. And the beauty of a brutal schedule is you got opportunities. You could really make some noise with that schedule.
Exactly. We'll see what happens. Big shout out again to Coach. Thank you for joining us. And of course, Mike Flynn for setting it all up. SID there at Georgia Tech. And it's game week, baby. It's week 0. Let's go. we got to talk ball. Cannot wait for this. We're going to keep sprinting through this week, and we will be right here soon enough talking about all these things, previewing, reviewing, getting a guest on Wednesdays. Can't wait, guys. We'll go to 3 episodes a week here next week, which is going to be a lot of fun. So appreciate you guys as always. Go over to YouTube, subscribe, jump on this channel. It's football season. Let's go. We're talking. Jump on with us. Leave some comments. Just tell us what you think. Are we crazy? Is 5.5 with this schedule impossible to go over? I don't know. We'll see. And of course, the OGs over on Apple Podcasts as well. And also, guys, I don't know if you've heard, but we're on channel 84 now on SiriusXM.
Come on.
Man, we're trying. We're trying, KG. It's going to be fun. Just continuing to fly this flag for the ACC. So if you guys could go over there, check us out as well. I'm sure there'll be posts about it on social media. We'll tell you all about it. So anyway, appreciate you guys always. Big shout out to Ingles. Just continue to subscribe. We would greatly appreciate that. But until next time, we'll see y'all.